So Transformers Rise of the Beast is going to be released on June 9th. It is 1 month from the date of this recording, and there are many fans who are excited. They are completely hyped to seeing this movie. To the point in which, if you have any questions about the movie, if you have anything negative to say about the movie in any way, shape, or form, they will come after you. Yeah. To a very, very violent degree. Not necessarily completely violent, but yeah, they will gang up on you, and they will call you names and everything else like that. But I have been cautiously optimistic from the get-go for this, and we got some character posters, and we have a 30-second promo that in some ways put me at ease, and in some ways have me going, I really, really wish that they went a certain direction when it comes down to certain characters, because at the end of the day, you know, there are many people who are just hyped about Transformers in general, and we'll see where this goes. So I've got a lot to talk about, so sit back, relax, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and let's transform and roll out. Consider supporting the channel on Patreon, becoming a channel member, or purchase some merch on my spring store today. So I want to make mention of today's sponsor, and that is EWin Racing. They make office and gaming chairs, such as the one that I am sitting in, if you guys saw my review for it. Right now, currently, there is a promotion. You can actually purchase one of them on their website, and if you're using the code RodimusPrimal, you will get 20% off. So let's get into this news. So as I said, there is these character posters that have been released for this, and they really are awesome. It's really awesome promotional material as far as I'm concerned, really showing off a lot of the characters. And for many of the character designs, I'm pretty pleased with them. You know, I've been, you know, contentious about one of them, and to an understandable level, but it really boils down to a certain thing that is kind of bad blood with the live action films and many older fans. But what do I mean by that? Before I really get this, before I actually start looking at the character posters, I do want to bring up this 30-second clip, and I'm going to view it from the beginning, and I'm going to, pause it at certain elements just to talk over it, give you guys my honest thoughts and breakdown of it for copyright reasons, really, honestly. And, but I'll try to do so at a sensible points before I really break down the characters, why we have this tension that we have, and all of that. So let's take a look at this here.
Who are you? Why are you hunting for the key?
So RodimusPrimal coming in there looks awesome. Really does. And Ron Perlman's voice, I still wish it was Gary Chalk. I'll say that till I'm blue in the face, because I'm a Beast Wars guy, and I love Gary Chalk as RodimusPrimal. Would have loved to have seen Gary Chalk and Peter Cullen share a screen there, but Ron Perlman's not a bad choice for RodimusPrimal. That being said, this backstory for the Maximals is different this time around. They are not the future of the Autobots and Decepticons. They are a colony world, the Maximals and the Predacons, that got eaten by Unicron. The Maximals fled to Earth to hide and try to keep a transwarp key from the likes of Unicron and his minions, which are the Terracons led by Scourge. So here we have Noah, which I've said this before in some of my videos, that I've talked about Noah, that I look at his backstory and how he connects to the character of Mirage, and I think about Raoul and Trax because it's taking place in New York City. And the armament on his arm there is something that Mirage has given him to use, and it becomes an exosuit that looks a little bit like Mirage if you actually take a look at some pause screens on the trailer.
Yo, Donkey Kong, stay away from my friend. Mirage, don't worry, you boys got this.
So I really like that there. That was really, really cool. The whole, hey, Donkey Kong, thing. But looking at Mirage here in action, I mean, I do wish that he had a handheld blaster, but I guess the Mega Man thing there for this particular scene works. And in action, the robot mode does look good overall. And this is one thing I want to make mention of too, is this thing right here on his chest. Look at G1 Mirage, and look at the actual, the shape of his chest, and then take a look at this thing here. And it does, remind me of Mirage that way. Same thing with the blue on the helmet. I can look at that robot and say, okay, the alt mode is the thing that people are complaining about. I can see both Mirage and Jazz sharing a screen together and both turning into a Porsche and yet having a different transformation. That would be cool to see.
Stranger danger! Stranger danger!
This is the kind of humor that you kind of expect from some of this type of stuff. And you know what? I like it. Lay back Donkey Kong, stranger danger, kind of like a pop culture referencing. This new Mirage kind of reminds me of kind of looks Transformers Prime Smokescreen, Hot Rod, Hot Shot, and Jazz all rolled into one in personality. It seems to be the amalgamation that they're going with this particular character. At least it's just gathered by 2 lines of dialogue. And yes, I do want to point out that 2 lines of dialogue from a character can tell you a lot about a character. And you'll see right here. And Cheetor here looks great if going by the backstory for, as I said, that they're hiding on Earth. Maybe the designs that they're using for the Beast Wars characters is that because they've been hiding on Earth for so long, they've lost some of their organic touch. But let's take a look at the next robot, and we're gonna dive into this.
Hey! Not so fast!
There. So there it is. You see him in action now. He's kind of a nervous, nerdy bot. And that's not the character that I was expecting if you're going to name this character Wheeljack. If he just came on screen and you told me his name was Gizmo or Fix-It or something else, some fans might question certain things, like why does a robot have glasses? The suspenders really make him look like a nerd. And, going really hard into, or he's going to get beat up for his lunch money by Rhinox and get tossed into a locker, which pretty much is kind of how it is there. Rhinox looks great, when he comes in and he kind of horns, Wheeljack here. But Wheeljack himself, I don't care for it. I just really don't like it. And I'm going to get deeper into this in a little bit. But, if he was just a different robot, and you named him something else, I'd be more behind him, and I'd probably be more defensive of him outside of that, saying, hey, yeah, they kind of gave us a nerdy bot, and it's a new guy, and we can defend him. But it's Wheeljack. And Wheeljack is a very, very well-known character throughout the Transformers franchise, and he's had an iconic design to him that, when you look at this particular robot on, with the flashy ears, the shoulder cannon and the Italian design for the colors, that is what I think of when I think of Wheeljack, because it's an iconic design. And I'll get into more of that in a bit, but let's look further into this clip.
Hey, over here, kitty.
So, RC in action. And she has hand blasters that Wheeljack and Mirage do not have. And I like her robot design. But we'll get into the posters to look further into this too.
Stand down! I won't ask a second time.
Okay, that is cool. That's the kind of dialogue that I want to see coming out of Optimus Prime. I won't ask a second time. That is very, very, very Optimus in both the action asks for you'd expect from a, the strong enough to be gentle. So he's saying, stand down. I won't ask a second time. That's actually kind of cool the way that they bring that out. So here we now have all 4 of them lined up, and that's fine. It looks great. If Wheeljack himself was a different named robot, I'd be like, oh man, this looks great. I can't wait to see this movie. But it's Wheeljack has been the one that has made the tension and the animosity that has gone so far back as 2005, 2006, 2007. That's really where it all boils down to. So what do I mean by that? First and foremost, let's bring up Wheeljack in Bumblebee. Let's bring up a concept art for Megatron for the first movie. And from my understanding, this is supposed to have been a concept art for Megatron in the Bumblebee movie. To my understanding, it's supposed to, that's what it was. But let's actually look at this interview and break it down a little bit to understand, hey, this is where Michael Bay went back in the day when he decided to change the designs for the robots.
Making process.
Yeah, when I was updating the robots, they just didn't understand why I didn't take the cartoon version of the robot design and just make it for the big screen. And I'm like, that's the equivalent of like the Marshmallow Man in Ghostbusters, okay? They're so boxy. I would love to do that for the fans. Just show a 35-foot tall, put it in a real environment in a movie, and just show how lame it would look, So these are extremely complex robots, and I would listen to the fans, but because you've got to respect the franchise, but you still have to make your own movie.
Take a step back, and what did he say? He says, you have to respect you have to listen to the fans because you have to respect the franchise. In other words, we'll hear you, but we're just going to do our own thing. Now, as far as action is concerned, Michael Bay definitely was able to deliver a lot of action to the movies, which is something that a lot of people felt the Bumblebee movie did not deliver on. I think the Bumblebee movie actually had some great action for it. But the biggest point of contention is the consistency. Take a step back for a moment. And like I said, when I talked about the design for Megatron in the first Michael Bay film, we were told by a lot of people that this is what Transformers is going to be on the big screen. It's going to be updated, alt modes, but yet it's going to be, Generation 1 centric. The kids are going to have their cartoons, but the live action films are going to be for the older fans, and we can kind of bridge the gap from there. But what we ended up with is something very different. It was 15 years of basically a even more splintering of a franchise. Transformers: The Last Knight was not successful as a film. It just was not. And yes, it made money worldwide, but domestically, it actually almost bankrupted Paramount. So the budget for Bumblebee was smaller, and that is why it was Travis Knight really had to go the extra mile to try to get Peter Cullen to even be Optimus Prime in the Bumblebee movie. But by that point, they were already doing the animatics, and they had to bring him in late in the game and had him redub the lines that were already recorded. So Peter Cullen kind of felt a little bit slighted about that, but it was never in a direction in which was trying to insult the fans in any way. But then you take a look at this. The Bumblebee movie had this whole opening sequence where all the designs of the characters are recognizable. And Bumblebee was a success because of word of mouth. People were like, first and foremost, the movie is pretty good. It's not the best movie in the world, but it's pretty good. And that opening sequence is awesome. It has some Generation 1 styled robots. You can recognize all of them on screen. You look from the trailer, you see, oh my gosh, I can't believe I can see all of my favorites immediately. I can recognize them. I know who they are. They're updated. They're newer. They still have a taste of them that feels the same. I can only imagine in the next movie if they actually just rework them a little bit to work within the confines of the fact that they do transform to give us the same robots or similar looking robots, but tweaked a bit, better proportions, better, the CG being a little bit cleaned up a little bit more, but still the framing of that movie, the way that Soundwave ejects Ravage to Shockwave, coming in and leading, having all the Decepticons there for a moment, Optimus Prime having his mouth that goes up and down, all the characters are recognizable on screen. And it's like, I would love to, all the boxes, they look like Marshmallow Man. Well, this actually proves him wrong. They could have actually gone this route, with the Bumblebee movie and given us the designs that we knew and we loved and we wanted. So then you take a look at something like the Rise of the Beast design for Wheeljack, and you wonder, well, what did you do? Why did you change it so much? And really what it boils down to is it's because the Bumblebee movie gave us Wheeljack. That is the crux of my argument. He showed up in the Bumblebee movie, and then Bumblebee himself, which I'm going to bring up this character poster, Bumblebee himself looks like Bumblebee throughout the movie. You see the opening sequence, he's in his Cybertronian mode. He comes to Earth, he takes a Jeep mode. He escapes and he turns into a Volkswagen Beetle. At the end of the movie, he becomes the Camaro. Yet the robot itself has elements and design of him that have the same shape. The chest of the vehicle is on the front, the way the shoulders are, where the tires are for the actual car itself, even the Cybertronian, design and look and what have you. And even the helmet is the same. So when this design shows up for Bumblebee, you're like, okay, in Rise of the Beast, he looks exactly the same. Well, for the most part. I mean, there is definitely some tweaking going on with the robot design. And for Optimus, it's the same thing. There is some changes to his design. When you look at Optimus, I see the same robot. I've talked about the fact that I would prefer him to have his mask up all the time. And there's talk about the mustache on him. But, like, there really isn't I don't really see the Peter Cullen face on it. But still, I still see Optimus Prime. It's easier to get over that than it is to get over the change to another character, and that's Wheeljack, right? And that's where I'm really breaking it down. So Mirage is a character who didn't show up in the Bumblebee movie. I think he looks great. He looks very similar to his Generation 1 counterpart, and yet is updated and new and fresh at the same time. His personality, I'm 50-50 on. He has the Mirage effects to him. There's elements of him that you can kind of get behind, even if you don't care for it completely. And RC is another one. I can see a throughput from the Bumblebee movie to this movie, but I can also see design elements from this robot to her Generation 1 counterpart with this design for RC. The pink on the arms, the white helmet, and the pink on the pink on the side, she didn't always have it that way, but the white on the chest because it is part of her vehicle mode, which is a motorcycle this time around. But then take a look at her, take a look at the things on the back of her shoulders. She does look like RC. So I'm all right with this take on RC. And I'm also okay with the design for Mirage. Here she is, she's defending Wheeljack here, and the wheels on her back slide down her back somehow and become roller skates for her. A little weird, but because I want to see it be where does the part go? How does it transform? But, we'll see how it actually, shows up in action. And another character that I think that when I'm looking at him objectively, I'm trying to wrap my head around the idea that they're changing the backstory for the Maximals. So maybe the organic parts are washing away, and what we're seeing is the robot underneath, but we're lacking a lot of color for him. And the Predacons are going to be like the Terracons of Transformers Energon in this movie, to my understanding. So that's why you see an army of them and Scorponok and such, what have you. That's to my understanding about how they're supposed to be. The robot kind of looks like a cross between his Transmetal design and his Season 1 design. So I'm really curious as what Beast Wars fans say about this. But again, getting back to Wheeljack, it has been the design that has caused so much tension. The nerdy suspenders, the glasses, the fact that he showed up in the Bumblebee movie looking very much like his G1 counterpart makes you look at this robot and say, if you had named him Fix-It or Gizmo or just something else, something new, we would have probably looked at him and said, cool. New Transformers bot. I love the fact that he turns into a Volkswagen bus. Cool, he's a TV repair guy. Have him name drop Wheeljack, but not be Wheeljack himself. That would be cool. That would be a cool connection, Because Transformers is a franchise that has room for more characters. The problem is that they always want to keep the names, trademarks going, so they'll just slap a name on there that works for whatever character they're trying to do, even whether or not it works or not. And what do I mean by that? in the Unicron trilogy, they decided to take Smokescreen, a name that was designed for a diversionary tactician who would make a distraction and make smoke come out of the back of his car mode to actually, create a literal smokescreen. And they slapped that name onto a crane truck. Wouldn't that have been Grapple? You take a look at a character, and I'll use Wheeljack as an example here. Aaron Archer has come out and stated that he didn't think the naming of Wheeljack was good for an Autobot. Bob Budiansky named that character Wheeljack. So you're insulting Bob Budiansky for naming a G1 Autobot Wheeljack. And yet, in Japan, his name, Smokescreen was Grap, and Wheeljack was Rampage. And then in Energon, you had a very G1 looking Wheeljack, but it was called Downshift in America, but in Japan, he was actually called Wheeljack. And then in Transformers Prime, we got a Wrecker, who is kind of a macho type Wrecker, and looks like Wheeljack, but acts like Springer. Like, because of the macho type, the Han Solo-esque, thing about him, very much reminded me of a cross between the UK comics and G1 Macho Bot of the G1 cartoon of Springer. And that's what it reminded me of. So I'm like, he looks like Wheeljack, but he's not acting like Wheeljack. So, and I know a lot of people are very, very contentious about this. But, I look at all of these characters throughout the years and I go, all right, you can have your new interpretations. But why is it that when we were told that we would get something that would be for us, for the older fans, and actually like where Michael Bay said, I would love to just do that for the fans, he was saying it in a way to say that it was in an insultive way. He was really trying to insult the fans that way. But for us, that's what we wanted. We wanted it. We were kind of told that in 2005. We didn't get that in 2007. We were teased that in 2018. And yet here we are now in Rise of the Beasts, and we're seeing a movie that looks like it's going to be pretty good, but a character like Wheeljack just doesn't look like Wheeljack. Because he really isn't Wheeljack. He's another bot. So how do I feel about this? I don't hate you if you like this design, or if you like Michael Bay's Transformers. I don't hate you if you like I love Beast Wars, but if you like the Unicron trilogy or Transformers Prime and you make that your own, that is the Transformers franchise that you began with. But if you're out there and you're making threats to people who are older fans like myself, that's not cool. It's really not cool to be sitting here and leaving DMs and messages and, ganging up on me on Twitter or what have you, just because I really am disappointed that they just could not deliver for me what I was teased in the Bumblebee movie, what I wanted since 2005, is to have a live-action Transformers movie that was really made, that not only has the Generation 1 style designs, but we can enjoy it all together as Transformers fans. Because I'm a parent now. I'm sharing G1 with my kids. I want to be able to enjoy Transformers with everybody, but it seems that that's not necessarily the case for all of those, for many of you who have been Transformers fans within the last 20 years. You don't want fans my age enjoying Transformers, but you can. I'm not going to be cool with that. I'm going to be around for a lot longer than you think. As long as Transformers is still being made, I will still be a fan. I'm not going anywhere. But I am very disappointed in this Wheeljack design. Very, very disappointed. I think that it is a disservice to the character. It's a disservice to the character that showed up in Wheeljack in the Bumblebee movie. It's a disservice to the character whom we honestly thought we were getting this guy. Because yes, I've heard the arguments made. It's not G1. It's not supposed to be G1. Why do you G1ers always want it to be G1? Well, why do you Prime 1ers want it to be Transformers Prime? And you send me death threats because Transformers Legacy, provided a bulkhead and an RC that weren't one-to-one animation model accurate Transformers Prime designs? Why do you have to, be so, antagonistic towards me because, you liked the Michael Bay films and I don't? I don't like the Michael Bay films. We can enjoy Transformers together, but I have my opinions about certain series of Transformers, and if you want to have a discussion about it, have a discussion about it, but don't attack me just because of that. Like I said, I'm not going anywhere. I want, a good Transformers movie that is what I have been waiting for 39, going close to 40 years for. Something that actually is for the fans. The source material, where it all started. And why is the source material important? Really, honestly, why is the source material important? Well, Transformers started in the Marvel Comics. And in the Marvel Comics, continuity was paramount. Accuracy mattered. The MCU actually delivers character designs for for Captain America, for Iron Man, for Spider-Man, for Thor when he does, if he decides to actually keep his helmet, to, we can argue about Hawkeye, but that's a whole nother argument. But, he has his bow and arrow. But it goes to show you that accuracy does sell. And that accuracy to an original design does sell, even if it's updated for the modern world. Then why doesn't it apply to Transformers when it comes down to the Generation 1 styled robots, designs, the personality, the backstory, all of that? And the same can be said for Beast Wars. Because of what Beast Wars did, it bridged the gap between the new generation of fans that started in Beast Wars and the Generation 1, fan. Why can't we have that with later Transformers series? Why can't we have that with live action films? Why can't we have this really, it all takes place within the same world, the same universe? We can all enjoy it together. Why can't we have that? It is my question for all of you. I am cautiously optimistic about this movie. I'm hoping that it's good. The humor in that 30-second clip does put my mind at ease to saying this is going to be a fun Transformers movie. They're going to be doing some really cool stuff. And I may hate the design for Wheeljack. Hate it with a passion. But it doesn't necessarily mean that I think the movie as an overall is going to be a failure. And I think the movie might have a moderate success. I think there are going to be Generation 1 fans who are just not going to see this movie because Michael Bay's name is still attached to it. And I think that there are going to be fans who are just going to go, I'm excited to see a Transformers movie. I'll go see a Transformers movie, and I need to get out of the house. But after the Mario movie, I wish we had gotten a little bit more things, a little bit more accurate to the source material. But I don't know what you guys think. Are you excited about Transformers Rise of the Beasts? Are you angry about the designs changes for some of the characters? Do you still think that this movie can be good? Do you think this movie is going to be excellent, or do you think it's going to be terrible? Of course, leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. Be sure to thumbs up this video and subscribe. Check out my other videos as well. I have much more coming down the pipeline, so stay tuned for that. And as always, guys, until next time, till all are one.